Okay, shall we get started slowly then? All
Yes.
right, welcome everybody. So good to see you all. Um, and thank you for the interest in the India Bioscience Outreach grants. It's a grant that we have a very special relationship with at India Bioscience, and really good to see the community responding to it. So the whole idea of this webinar is to provide you with all the information you need to make a strong application for these outreach grants. We recognize that they are one of a kind grants in India for scientists to do outreach. Probably the only one of the very few. And so we want to enable you with starting from coming up with an idea to what it will take to put together an application packet, and after your application, what execution of the award or the grant will look like. So thank you for joining us, and I think we will get started. All right. So we've structured this webinar to optimize your time such that we will introduce India Bioscience and our team very briefly so that you know who's behind the scenes of all those emails and notifications. We'll introduce you to the fourth IOG. We'll introduce you to our invited guests, Neha and Ruben, previous IOG awardees and independent investigators themselves, who will talk about how IOG enabled their projects. We'll then run through the guidelines and how to apply and what to expect after you apply. And then we'll throw it open to the audience for, Q&As, which could relate from, what kind of an idea would be funded to how do I budget, how do I make a strong case for the project. So it's a wide, the sky is the limit when it comes to outreach and your questions. All right, so let's get started with introducing you to India Bioscience. But I'm sure there are very few of you who need this introduction to India Bioscience, but we describe ourselves as a catalyst, as a facilitator to promote change in the culture and practice of science in India through engagement with academic scientists, government, and industry across various levels, from school education, undergraduate education, independent faculty, industry transitions for jobs and careers, skill building, etc. So we have a wide range of mandates that come under this broad definition. And these mandates are networking and mentoring, which we do through our big YIMS and other events through the year. Science communication, a lot of it is on our website. Science education, skill building through crafting your career and other workshops. Data and policy, a vertical which we are looking to grow. And digital initiatives, which is like this: webinars, podcasts, e-learning modules, and lots of it. So India Bioscience is largely a digital platform, and yeah, I hope you can't see notifications, but we are largely a digital platform, and we look forward to growing with you, the community. So as amazing as it sounds, all of this work and all of these verticals are managed by this team. We are actually a very small team, and we've heard feedback that it seems much bigger than it is. Well, that's true. It's basically 6 of us, and we are very soon hiring a digital initiatives program manager to replace Suchi, who is still with us engaged in some capacity, and that's very large shoes to fill. But all of this work is being done by this small team. All right, so coming to the IOG, I think that's introduction enough. We are in the 4th year of the India Bioscience Outreach Grants. The grants were launched in 2020, and this was a young investigator-driven idea that came out of a YIM, saying that maybe we could have a small fund for independent scientists in India to do outreach. And IOG 2020 was launched. In 2021, IOG was expanded to include extension grants. And in 2022, it ran with both first time and extension grants. So information about our previous awardees and the kinds of projects we fund can be found on that QR code, but also on our website. You can just type IOG and you'll find it. This year, we are in 2023 in the 4th year of our IOG, and we are running both the first time and the extension grant calls. More on that in a minute, but we'll focus the attention now on our 2 special invitees, Neha and Ruben, both previous IOG awardees and scientists, and Manjula will introduce them and their projects.
Thank you, Karishma. So today we are joined by Neha Jain, who is an assistant professor at IIT Jodhpur. She has been the awardee of second IOG, first time grant, and third IOG extension grant as well. So you'll get to hear from her shortly. So their current project is entitled as Engaging Youth to Fight Against Antimicrobial Resistance. So it's based on creating awareness on antimicrobial resistance by engaging with the secondary school students and biology undergraduate students in rural parts of Rajasthan. And also we are joined by Ruben Varghese, who is a scientist at the All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, Mysore. He is the second IOG awardee, and their team worked on Project Raksha, which is reach and advocacy for autistic kids, sexual health and safety attitudes. So they worked on creating culturally sensitive sexual health materials for children and their caregivers who have these disabilities. So you can hear from them after Karishma gives an overview of the IOG 4. Over to you, Karishma. And thanks to them for joining today's session. So
Thank you, Neha and Ruben. We are very fortunate to be able to showcase your projects, and we'll be back to you very shortly for your inputs on the project. So the fourth IOG was launched on 15th June. It's open till 14th July. It invites applications from young investigators. If you look at the eligibility on our website, that's PIs under 8 years of running their independent research groups. And that can include Ramalingaswamy, Ramanujan, DST Inspire Fellows, Welcome India Alliance Fellows who can describe themselves as independent investigators. We are strongly looking for collaborations with science communicators, educators, and students and other scientists in the community. All right. So the first time grants, a lead applicant is a young investigator within 8 years. This is a scientist-driven grant. This is not a science communicator grant, though you can collaborate with a communicator, educator, scientist, student, public engagement professional. Its maximum 5 grants will be awarded of a funding of 1 lakh each for a tenure of 1 year. For those of you who received the IOG 3 first-time grants are eligible to apply for an extension grant for 1 year. This will involve a funding of 1.5 lakhs. And since there will be only 5 people eligible to apply, we'll offer only 2 grants, to a max of 2 grants. And it has to be the same project taken forward for the extension grant, right? So a maximum duration of 1 year, after which there's, that's it. That's the kind of support IOG can offer. So only 2 out of 5 can be awarded the extension grant. So this year, we really wanted to also host this webinar to tell you that we're really looking for out of the box, novel, impactful outreach ideas. And we understand that this is something difficult to come up with. And so we provided you quite literally a laundry list of ideas on our website. So you can think beyond school outreach. We really want you to, we're explicitly saying this, we really want you to think beyond K-12 outreach, to think of outreach related to underrepresented health conditions, rural and tribal communities. They may be in person. That's fine as well. Outreach events like a single day science festival or a science, a virtual science museum, for example. Unique approaches can be outreach through poetry, outreach through embroidery, outreach through woodwork. Lots of inspiration can be found on Twitter, but we've also given you lots of ideas. And we're really looking for different ideas. So do check out this page on our website, and I'm sure it will leave you very inspired. Okay, so the first time grants to apply will need, of course, basic details of the lead applicant, a title for the project, expertise of the lead applicant. This is, you can focus on outreach expertise, not your publications necessarily, and a 3-page proposal. So it's 3 sides. We've given you as much flexibility to include infographics, diagrams, schematics. Really be creative with this. Bring your outreach project to life in these pages. You can also add a short video that could be both, the team recording the video, telling us more about what is being planned. So that's what's needed if you're a first-time applicant. We really want to understand the feasibility of the outreach work and the novelty of the work. If you're an extension grant awardee, I think key will be to tell us what you managed in the 1 year of the first-time grant. Was your project able to take off? Were you able to fulfill large number of the goals you set out to in the first place? And then we'd also want you to provide a strong rationale for why you need a second round of funding with some clarity on sustainability and a long-term plan after the extension grant, right? Because here we are really looking to fund projects with scope for sustainability. That after 1 year, do you have a plan? That could include registering a not-for-profit, raising CSR funds, selling calendars, posters, activity books. You can think of many other ideas as well. But we really want to see sustainability in the extension grants. So what happens after you apply? Well, we will get to work at that point. We leave no day left. We will get to it immediately. We have a selection committee comprising of India Bioscience team members and external members who will evaluate every proposal. We'll be looking for novelty this time round. I think we've proved the IOG's impact as a program, and now we really want to push the box on different ideas. We'll also look for some basic feasibility to be able to execute this. So novelty, feasibility would be key. And so IOG is open till July 14th, and we will announce it in a month. By end August, we will notify awardees by email as well as on our social media. So once you do get the award, we will notify you. You're expected to initiate the project within 15 days of the award. So that's mid-September. So you should have a plan on how you can get it rolling. We'll provide you with the money immediately. We release the money to the host institute of the lead applicant. We can't give it to personal accounts. And then we'll ask you for information like photographs, a short video that we can compile to put up on our website. We'll promote the project. And we'll also ask you to keep publishing resources that could be webinar recordings, podcasts, posters on our IOG webpage, on our India Bioscience website. We also give you an offer to publish your project as an article or a column on the India Bioscience website. And that will give you a lot of publicity as well as give us an opportunity to showcase you and your work. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. We're now going to talk to Neha and Ruben, who will tell us how IOG could bring their projects to life.
Hello.
So would you like to go ahead? Hi, Ruben. We can hear you.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. Would you like to go ahead, Neha?
Yes, I would like to.
Okay, sure, Ruben. Go ahead.
So first of all, thank you, Karishma and the other team members for inviting me, Manjula and all, because it is actually my second project. But after getting the IOG grant, I got 4 more projects from Government of India. So I think it is actually a blessing in disguise for me and for my team, because we got into DBT, DST, ICMR and DHR. Okay, so now first of all, telling about the India Bioscience team, actually it's a young and vibrant team. Because usually when we see about all these research grants and all, we see all the gray-haired people sitting on the table and evaluating our things. But the IOG team is very young, vibrant, and always approachable. That's one thing which I always felt was one of the advantages of IOG. And second thing, for young researchers, young scientists and all, this would be, I think, the best platform for you to try and explore. Because only if you try, we'll come to know about how to write about a short summary, how to go about with the budget, how to do intermediate outreach, how to do about the research publications, etc. So I think I urge all the people out here to apply for it, because it's not going to be easy, because every year a lot of competitions will be there. But novelty, as Karishma said, is going to be your main thing. So how novel your idea is, I think you're going to get the grant. So moving on to my topic. So basically my topic was on Project Extra, and we have also completed it last year, and now we are doing translating the material into different languages. So this project was basically to help persons with disabilities, autism per se, and their caregivers, to prevent them from getting sexually abused. So now in the present era, school children, all people are getting are victims of sexual abuse, because there is lack of sexual education. But there is more awareness even among the school children and the other normal children. But for persons with disabilities, it's very difficult to teach them, because their cognition, their understanding, it will be very different compared to a normal person. So we did a small survey before conducting this thing, and we found that almost out of 10 kids who are disabled, almost 2 are getting sexually exploited every day. and because they don't know about this and they are not able to tell it to their parents, and there is no available material for them. So our aim was to create culturally sensitive digital material on sexual awareness and readiness. So it was all things like knowing about the human body, then it's about menstruation, then reproduction and all that thing. So it's a actually 12 theme module, and we made 12 books, and the advantage was that it's all e-content, so we could send it to the different parts of the country. So basically we send it to Delhi, we sent it to Bombay, we sent to Mysore, and we sent to Guwahati. So these 4 places we had our friends where they showcase this material to the people for the children as well as the caregivers, and we received overwhelming response. And the second thing is that we also conducted workshops. See, a main advantage of this outreach IOG is that outreach plays a key role. So you have a research topic, and if you always think about the traditional research, it's only the p values, a statistical technique or something. But unless you take that into the community and work on it, then the real impact of research plays a role. So we also conduct workshop on our institute and also the nearby people, where we go to Rotary clubs, we go to few old age homes and child care homes, etc., orphanage, etc., and we also give workshops on that. So as such, it was a wonderful experience for me. And one, as Karishma and Manjula said, money they send it on time, and till now there was no issue. The money we received, everything, and in between they will ask us for a quarterly report to make sure that we are on the right track, and they ask for photos, and we had an opportunity to publish our article in the IOG website, and also an article we send it to somewhere else. And I think it was a wonderful experience, a very good learning experience, and thank you the IOG team for granting me the award.
Thank you, Ruben. You've really made our day. One is, you said we don't have gray hair, which we say we have covered very nicely. Secondly, you say we release the money on time, which Shweta is smiling about.
Yes.
So, thank you so much, Ruben. So, Ruben, would you say that the funding that you got was useful to build these infographics
Yes.
and the workshops?
Actually, before only we made a budget, and we knew that where to stick on the yardstick. So that's very important. So initially itself, we made so we made sure that this will be this under this head, this much will go under this head. For designing, the team would take this much. For translation, this much. Actually, we had even put for trademark and copyrights, but it could not be done. So we are going to use that money again for translation to different languages that I'll be sending. But we in the initially only, that's why the planning is matters. So since we had already done few more projects, we knew how to go about it. The template was there. So we made sure that we stick on to the yardstick, and but 1 lakh is actually sufficient for first time for people. Because if we get too much money also, you will get what you say extravagant and think out, but this means you will keep on the limits. And we did not buy any equipments. We did not, only the money was spent on the real thing, on the people who were working on it, and we monitored, and it was monitored by 2 people, so just to check that everything is fine and not, and that's how we paid. No issues.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ruben. We'll come back to you for questions as we move forward. All right, Neha, would you like to share your experience?
Yes, thank you, Karishma. Thank you so much, Karishma and Manjula. I do agree with Ruben that we don't see gray hair people, but one more important thing that I see with India Bioscience team is that more females than males, which is really encouraging for any new people who join in the country as well as in any academic institution. So that is hats off to all of you, that just being 6 people, you're managing this very, very efficiently. And this India Bioscience has actually made me popular. I don't know why, how, but getting this grant has actually made me a lot popular. So I'm more popular on IOG platform as an independent PI. So I'll start with my first grant, and then I'll move on to my extension grant. So my first grant was awarded in 2021, when we were during COVID times. So when I joined IIT Jodhpur in 2019, in initial 2 years, what I figured that the helpers, the laborers that were coming in IIT Jodhpur, it's an upcoming institute. So we have a lot of laborers here. That they don't know what is IIT. They don't know what is science. They don't know what is education. So we are building this institute in a place where the education and literacy rate is very low. And I belong to Rajasthan. So I knew that this problem was there from the very beginning. So my one reason to come back to Rajasthan was that I would like to do something for the society. So thankfully IOG happened and I could do this. So my idea was that how to take the science outside IIT and make people aware that there's something which is like an institute called IIT and what we can offer them if they can't come to IIT. So that was the idea. And during COVID time, I got connected with NGO in Jaisalmer, which is I Love Jaisalmer. And we were thinking that I told them that I would like to do something for the society. But of course, the thing which is a strain is that how do you get money? How do you approach people? Or how you want to tell people that I want to tell you something, whether it is important or not. So that's where when I looked into IOG grant in 2021, when the application was open, me and Shaheen, who is a manager for I Love Jaisalmer, we discussed that can we take this opportunity and can we start science outreach and then can we move forward? Can we grow in this direction? So in 2021, I think ours was the only grant which decided to go in person in schools and colleges. The idea was to educate people about microbiology. My background is microbiology. But basically what we did is we divided our entire activities into 4 modules. So initially when I go, I take my students also with me. So Shaheen connects me to the schools which are in rural areas. They don't have table and chairs to sit. So they sit on daris. Some of them, they sit under the tree. So I have taught them under the tree as well. So I give them a flavor of what is IIT Jodhpur, what an higher education looks like, what is microbiology, how they can use microbiology, they can identify microbiology in their day-to-day routine. So by teaching them, I'm not teaching them very basic boring microbiology, rather I'm focusing on that, how they can use this knowledge in their day-to-day life, that what is hygiene, what is female hygiene, why. So most of these students, so we did 9 workshops in the first time. Out of 9 schools, there were only 3 schools where the females were using pads, sanitary napkins. Most of them were using clothes. So we told them that this is not hygienic for you, how you should be shifting. Then we distributed also sanitary napkins to these places. So this was first module. Then second, thanks to this grant, we could order foldscope, which are paper microscope. So these students, they could, in their schools, they learn from the teachers. The teachers just give lectures, but they have never done anything practical. They have never taken anything in their hand and built something. So making a foldscope, which is like a paper microscope, was a very big thing for them. So they were very excited. They made the foldscope. We took some of the slides with us. We asked them to make some slides there. So they looked into their hair, they looked into their skin, and they were very, very happy to see that what is actually it is. So in the first grant, we actually covered around 460 students roughly. That's not the exact number, but we outreach to 460 students in different areas of Jaisalmer. We went to Kochaman, we went to Jodhpur rural areas as well. And after we teach them, we also give them homework on an assignment. So there is a column which is called as Vinogredsky column. Basically, it's a microbial ecology in a very small bottle. So we ask them to make this column and observe the changes. So they also keep us connected. So they send us the pictures, we tell them that what is happening. So it's not that I go there, I give them a very wow thing, and then if the connection is lost. So I'm still connected with them. So all this could happen because of this first IOG grant, and I'm really, really thankful that something that I thought I would like to do, IOG actually enabled me to do, and IOG actually brought that thing out of me that I can do it. I wanted to do, but I didn't know that whether I could do it or not. So a big thank you to all of you. And 1 lakh we utilized to buy foldscope. We didn't buy any equipment. And since we were doing this in person, we also made sure that the students get gifts. So we had a couple of quizzes, we had puzzles. So when they answer these, they get prizes. So they get excited. And we made sure that we give something or the other to all the students, like maybe a small sticker that they can put on their bag, or a small tag, or a badge, or a pin like I love microbiology, or I want to be a scientist. So we got those badges made by us. And also we utilize this money to travel to these areas. And again, thanks to IOG, so the initial budget that we proposed, we had to modify a lot because we didn't know how much money we are going to spend in travel or whole scope or anything. So again, IOG was, the team was very, very generous that we could modify our budget and we could utilize as we want to utilize. And I think this is one of the key points, that you do not restrict the investigator that you promise to do this, so you have to do this. Rather, you give the freedom to the investigator or to the person that, okay, if you want to do this, you can change it for a betterment of your outreach, which is the USP of the entire team. That I never faced any problem when I say that, okay, I'm not buying this, but I want to utilize this money here. I'm left with this money, I will utilize, but maybe later on. So I really want to thank you. So now coming to my second IO, the extension grant. So once we did this, and I've shared this in my report also, that we got numerous feedbacks. I can't tell you, my Almira is full of feedback forms, and 99.9% are fabulous. And it's not just because what I am doing, it's because that they came to know that there is something in India which is actually working to reach out to people across India. So whenever I start my presentations, of course, I always give acknowledgement to IOG that I'm here because of IOG. So they were very surprised that there is somebody who is worrying about them. There's somebody who's taking care about the science that can go outside the premier institutes. So after the first IOG, we realized that students are very bright. The only thing is that they are not getting the motivation. The mostly females, they are not being exposed to higher education from their family. So me being from Rajasthan, I could talk to them in Hindi, little bit of Marwari. So I also got in touch with their family. So as Karishma was mentioning, that this should not be limited to schools or colleges. You should also maybe get connected to communities. So we did get connected to the communities. We reached out to their families as well, that send their students, send their kids for higher education, why higher education is important for them. So every time we go, we always got an email back that, can you come again? Can you come again? So then we thought that, okay, we have taught them a little bit of microbiology. Now, how to relate it with their health? So the extension grant was to make them aware of antimicrobial resistance, because the places where we are going, there are no proper hospitals. It's usually PHC, which is primary health care. And the doctors are not the typical doctors. They are mostly nurses or compounders, which give antibiotic for any kind of disease. So that is what we noticed in our first IOG. And then we decided, okay, if we get a second chance, we would like to take over on this matter and then tell people that usage of antibiotics, how you want to use, why you want to use, and how long you should be using. So that was our idea, which we are continuing right now. And as Karishma mentioned, that you need a sustainability plan. So, and the more you do, I can tell you that it's so satisfying to do this outreach. And I'm pretty sure all the awardees, including Karishma, because Karishma was the first awardee, you will find too much of satisfaction of doing all this. So the plan for us to have this even after the extension grant is that we have communicated to a foundation which is on our campus, which is Jodhpur Innovation Cluster Foundation. So they have agreed to support us after the extension grant. We have also, so our work also reached to Indian Army in Jodhpur. So we had somebody over here in IIT. I discussed about this IOG grant and they were very happy. So Indian Army in Jodhpur, they have adopted certain villages in Barmer and rural areas of Rajasthan. So they asked me that, can you do the same thing for these villages which do not have proper schools? So we said we would love to, if you can fund us, because we will run out of fund after 1 year. So they agreed to do that. So the Indian Army is going to fund us for our next venture. But overall, and in the second grant, so we are mostly focusing on, so we do take antibiotics with us. We will take antibiotic resistance plates with us. We tell them that, okay, you make this solution. how do you see this? So when you are taking a tablet, why are you taking a tablet? Do you know this? So we tell all of these, but in a very fun-filled way. We also give them, again, the puzzles and prizes. So, and again, the students and the people, they write back to us that I told this to my family member and they agreed to do this. They agreed to complete the course of antibiotic and not just take 1 or 2 days. So most of my emails and my students' emails, we have made a separate account now because we get a lot of emails. So
Yes.
it's most of the time it's very nice things, and whenever we reply, we always say that this is thanks to the IOG grant that we took on.
Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Neha.
Thank you.
Beautiful
And I'm sorry if
example.
I've taken more time.
No,
You're
no, not
welcome.
at all. Beautiful examples. Thank you for showcasing IOG so well. And so very different projects, as you can see, vastly different ideas, approaches, execution. And thank you for acknowledging IOG so much. So we will now throw it open to questions, Ruben, Neha, and some questions we'll divert to you all, to you both. So young investigators here, please raise your hand, virtual raise your hand. I think that feature should be there, right, somewhere. If you can, or then just tell us and we'll unmute you. So what questions would you have as you prepare to apply for the 4th IOG? So we will wait till a few questions filter in. Anyone would like to start?
I mean, I just first have a comment. I think it was very inspiring hearing everybody talking about IOG, and we will be applying for the extension grants, obviously. We were wondering how related should the project be to the first one? For example, is it considered not innovative enough if we keep doing what we are doing, but it may be in a larger scale? Is that from the point of view of the grant?
That's a good question, Mayuri, and I will just say my bit, but Manjula, you can add. I think it's okay to continue. We want you to continue the same project. We don't want another project because we know sustainability is a challenge. But if you can just in this extension say how you plan to sustain this, like Neha said, some additional sources of funding, foundations, etc. Manjula, you want to add something?
I think Karishma is right. So we don't want you to change the project, but it will be like really nice how you want to, like, reach out more and, showcase your project to a wider audience, and how you want to, advance it more. So I think that would be the thing that we would be looking in this. And also, yeah, as Karishma mentioned, sustainability. How are you going to sustain this project even after 1 year? If you receive the extension grant as well, how do you, plan to make it a sustainable project? So that is
And
something
that,
we would be,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. But we look forward to extension grant applications.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
IOG's only got better and better year after year. So the most recent cohort, we really look forward to supporting them. So Deepa has a question. Deepa, maybe I'll ask you to unmute. Deepa? I have asked her to unmute, but yes, Deepa, you're unmuted, yes. Deepa, we cannot hear you. Okay, while Deepa is probably she's just figuring out why we can't hear her. Jyoti asked a question, Manjula, in the chat window. Are the grants only available to scientists engaged in research?
Yeah, I think they should be independent researchers who should be like, in their career less than 8 years. And then, they should be affiliated to the government or research institute. So there should be a faculty there to be, eligible to apply for this grant.
Absolutely. Yes,
I think that
they have to have an affiliation because we transfer it to the host institute.
And not the
money.
Scientist. Yeah,
yes,
directly.
And yes, I mean, it's young investigator is what we define it. So yes, they have to be engaged in research.
Right.
Or at least what you would call an independent faculty position, I think that what we are saying is independent faculty position is what we are saying. There's a good question. Manjula, Chandana asks about the extension grant, and maybe Neha can take this. Neha, Chandana asks, what exactly were you looking for in an extension? A different angle as Neha, or self-sustained system, or commitment of sources of funding? So Neha, when you applied, what all did you put in your extension grant?
Yeah, so one thing that sustainability was, of course, there. That how am I going to continue it? That was the major part. And second, since I was doing it in person, I wanted to bring that how can I level up my current outreach? So if I'm going, whether I'm doing the same thing or I can add something more, because of course the fund also increases in the second year. So whether it's the same thing or I can add something more to it. And the third part is that how further I can reach out to people. That was my idea. That can I cover more areas in the next year?
Sounds good. Exactly. So yes, I mean, some idea, but you don't have to have committed sources of funding or anything. Exactly. Tanushri asks, and maybe Ruben, you can take this. She says, is there subject specification, environmental microbiology or environment work? So Ruben, your project was very unique. Your idea was very unique. You know, probably the only team in India doing that kind of work. So would you agree that our mandate is broad? Did you have this concern when you applied?
No, I did not have the mandate, because what I feel is that the impact of research matters. So it does not, like, even you can see that not people from IITs, even small college school students are bringing innovations in the recent past. So it's how impactful and how it can be useful for the society that matters. So when you look out in the environment, you find problems. It's the problems that create the scientific inquiry. And in my project, I had 4 students. I was the principal investigator, but there were 4 students who were doing their post-graduation or just finished their post-graduation. So they also wanted to do research, but when they applied for most of these grants, they were not able to get through, because we need a good CV and a lot of publications and all that. So they were very sad and always disheartened. So I said, why don't you try this? I will just support you. And once they received the grant, the students, the mentality changed. They were so proactive. More than me working, they came up, sir, this is what we would like to do. And you can see the enthusiasm and the bubbling of energy is happening. So I think as such, you should not think that this type of research we will do, that type of research we will do. But what we did is that before applying for the grants, we checked the last year's awardees. So in that, I think one thing on tuskers or something was there, elephant, something I forgot, something on the agricultural thing, climate change or something. So I asked the children to prepare the template based on that and how they made it. So it was 2 years back, I forgot, I think. So based on that, they made it. And this was a very unique project. And now even the government is, we got another grant from ICMR, who is planning to do, we are planning to do it in a large scale. So that also received last year in a very big way. Yeah. So that's why. So don't think about I don't think microbiology, sociology, because I'm a scientist. I did my PhD in speech language pathology. So it's not engineering, it's not microbiology. So it's a different field altogether. So even if I could get into it, I think anybody from any field can get in.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ruben. So Tanushri, no subject. It's very broad.
Yeah.
Very broad.
But we would just like to add here, it should be like specifically around life sciences. So just to be, specific, that, not all fields of science, but life sciences. Somewhere it should be connected to life sciences. I think, yeah.
So I've unmuted Ashwini.
Okay.
Manjula, Ashwini, would you like to ask?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So a very good afternoon to everyone. It was a very nice discussion. So, okay, I have 2 questions. Once I've already posted in the message, but I would like to speak out.
Yes.
So, should the project be extremely unique, or it can be a kind of, I would not say repetition, but similar to something which has already got grant in the last 3 IOG? So,
I mean, we understand that the mode may be the same, like a webinar or a podcast or an activity book, but your audience will definitely be different. if it's in person, for sure, it will be a unique audience around your region. So you could think of some way you differentiate it. Some
Right.
way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That
Yes,
has to be.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. But we understand that there are only that many modes of engagement and you'll work with what it is. No,
Right.
that's fine. Absolutely fine. Yes.
Right.
And you had a second question?
Yeah. So this is something I was thinking as soon as this grant was notified.
Yes.
The last date is around end of July, 15 July, something.
14th July. Yes.
14th July, yeah. And it will be notified to the awardees by end of August.
Correct.
Okay. And the grant will be released in September.
No, it will be released by end August, immediately.
Immediately. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So suppose after the grant is released, the awardees maybe he or she changes the institution.
Yeah.
So how would
Yeah.
that take shape?
This is a good point, Ashwini. See, we are not a granting agency as such, we are not
Yeah,
a funding
obviously.
body.
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
our overheads to manage these things is low. As you said, there's a small team. Once we release the funds, it's up to you to do that internal transfer.
Right.
We will release to one
suppose
institute.
currently suppose I'm in institution A.
Yes.
I get a grant and maybe in the next 3 or 4 months I shift to another institution B.
Yes.
So will it make any difference to the India Bioscience or?
No,
it's
you'll
okay?
have to transfer the money as far as we are concerned. Shweta,
Right.
you can add in here, but like any grant, if you had got Ramalinga Swamy also to A and you move to
Right.
B, you will have to move the leftover money, right, from A to B.
Exactly.
So like that, you will have to just move this grant. You can notify us. We'll issue another award letter with the new institute name.
Okay, right.
Shweta, how will this work? Any inputs?
Hi, Karishma. So first,
Hi.
once we transfer the first installment to A institution, the A institution should agree to give the utilization certificate along with the statement of expenditure.
Right.
So then only we can give the release second installment. If the A does not give the UC, we can't give the we release the B second installment for B.
Right.
So this one also is,
Agreed. But if he transfers the money, then the second institute can give us the UCSC and we transfer the new money to his second institute.
yeah, suppose like 70,000 we are transferring to A institution. A institution will give the UC for 70,000, and B institution, like we are transferring whatever the expenditure they have incurred, so that they can give the expenditure in a B, like they can mention.
Right. Because the grant is only for 1 year. And
Yes.
shifting from institution to institution, it takes some time.
Yes.
Depending upon what is the notice period and how soon someone is going to
Absolutely.
join. So that may take some time.
Yes.
So there is clause for this in the IOG.
I mean, it's never happened, to be frank, in 3 years. And so we don't have a clause as such. This is all we can say. We can't transfer again, obviously. You will have to internally transfer it.
Obviously.
Yeah, then that's fine. Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you.
No problem, Ashwini, no problem. And also, I think what happened is Deepa is unable to unmute. So let's just take her question. Deepa says, it should be biology connection or science subject. What would you say, Manjula?
I think life sciences, broadly life sciences,
Okay.
So we'll just stick to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Do we need any approval letter from IOG for transfer? Again, I mean, this never happened, but we can give you one approval letter if you need it, if you change your host institute. Yeah. All right. Deepa again asked Manjula, what's your definition of a young investigator? No age limit, Deepa. At India Bioscience, we don't believe in age limits. We are always young. But for the purpose of the grant, we define a young investigator as under 8 years.
Yeah.
Of an independent faculty position.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. That's assistant professor or scientist D or whatever it is. Under 8 years. And we really try to keep this as broad as possible.
Right.
Okay, so maybe while questions are filtering in, Shweta, we clarify the point that, yes, please.
Karishma, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is just an extension of the previous one. So the 8-year tenure is from the time of completion of PhD or from the time
No.
one joins as a scientist or assistant professor?
The latter.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Independent faculty, not PhD or postdoc.
Okay, right. Thank you.
No. Yes. So Saurav, Gokul, Ganesh all have their hands raised. Saurav, you want to go next?
Hi. So, while going through the topics of this grant application, so in terms of health science, my question is: do you restrict to only the specific less addressed health concerns, or anything that is acceptable by a wide audience that is acceptable?
Yes, we just suggest things, but very broad. Yes, it doesn't have to be less addressed necessarily. And as long as you feel there is a need that outreach should be done, and you reflect that in the 3-page proposal, it's up for evaluation. Absolutely not. Yes.
And does it need to be any disease related things in life science, or like suppose if I talk about like taking medicines, how it works in body, or what is the fundamental use of when you take medicine, how it works inside body, that is not related to specific disease, but when I talk to someone, they are very excited to listen, right?
So absolutely, like breaking down pharmacokinetics and things like that for a lay audience. I think it would be a good idea. What do you say, Manjula? Yes, absolutely, it would fit. Absolutely. And I think a good suggestion, this is only our suggestion, but you've got me excited to share that, infographics and all would be nice to show something like this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Gokul, your hand was raised next.
Yeah. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, this is Gokul. I recently graduated from ISER at Trivandrum, and I have a science communication initiative of mine. So right now I was considering applying to IOG, but the biggest problem is to find a faculty advisor, an young investigator who could help us with the same. And before I actually wanted to approach someone requesting if they could actually, supervise us, I was wondering how much work will this young investigator have, considering they're the ones handling the funds and all of that.
So one thing, Gokul, your passion is reflected, but this is a scientist grant.
Right.
This is scientist led. So the project should really state what the young investigator's role is. It can't just be for the application.
Okay, okay.
So you find, best suggestion is we have a YIM database of young investigators. I don't know, we can find a way to share it with you. I've just looked at Manjula if there's a possibility. In the past, we have shared YIM regional
Life scientist
YIM alumni.
database is there.
Life science database.
In that, if you select YIM alumni, you should be able to
so
find
Gokul,
them.
best is you find someone who also has a passion for the project idea.
Right.
Yeah. Then there is work. The money will go to them. They'll have to disperse the money. They should be involved in the project.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I think they should be the one who is leading it actually, so that they are answerable for any of the clarification needed, and the money also goes to the to the institute, not to the person, but they will be solely responsible in answering the queries.
Absolutely. And I'll also say this, we've had a lot of people like you, young people like you, very passionate, but this IOG really goes as a feather in the cap for the PI. It's also become a brand in itself now. So they should do the work for it. It should not just be putting their name there.
Yeah. No, I
we
just wanted
to that you do all the work.
Yeah.
But the lead applicant is them.
Yeah. No, I had a couple of options, but I wanted to make sure before approaching so as to how much work they will have. And then approach, which is why. And the second thing is, so this initiative, with this initiative, we do multiple things, and not all of it would probably fall under life sciences or something that I can potentially apply for the funding. So if I'm applying to a part of this project, can I still retain the initiative name?
Yes, I think so.
Right? Because it will exclusively be used for this particular sub project. But since we've been using the same name So I just
You could, except for the sub project. If you get funded by IOG, all that material should have IOG.
should have, yes,
Logo
definitely.
and acknowledgement and everything.
Yeah.
Certainly.
All right.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Welcome. Next, I think is Ganesh.
Yeah.
Ganesh, yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Karishma, and thank you, India Bioscience team, for organizing this informative session. So I just had a question on budget. So whether grant allows hiring interns, like summer interns or something, to speed up the outreach activity planned during the this particular grant.
Sure,
And
Manjula, yes.
subsequent to that, whether there is any, if the institute charges overheads on the grant, whether that is allowed for this grant.
I mean,
Overhead, Shweta can clarify.
I can just add, if you are transferring the money to any institute, they might charge some overhead. But Shweta can add in here. So for the hiring any person in this, basically we have allowed freelancers who will be working on your project, and your budget should have clear breakup of everything that you will be anticipating, that will be come under like a 1 lakh bracket. So I mean, you can just you might have spillover, but more or less the budget should be very nicely structured. So what and all you'll be anticipating, freelancer payments, or like some mic or something that you purchase for your outreach. So everything should be included in your budget. Shweta,
Okay.
would you like to add something if I missed anything?
No, Manjula. So overrides, I think so we can't book under the IOG grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no overhead.
Yeah, if I can add something here.
Yes, please.
I had the same issue, which actually Shweta and Manjula both helped me. So basically, for any government organization, they look grant as a grant, so they would ask for overhead. But then I requested India Bioscience team that if they can tell me that this is an award which is given to me, then at least for IIT Jodhpur, the overhead was exempted for.
Okay. Fine.
I think,
got it.
yeah.
So there is a way around it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Neha, for adding that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Pujarini, I've asked you to unmute. Yes.
Yes. Hi, Karisma. Hello, everyone. First of all, I must say that this is a wonderful initiative by India Bioscience, because I am very passionate about outreach activities. So I'm Dr. Pujarini. I'm working as a scientist at ICMR, Regional Medical Research Center, Bhubaneswar, but on a contract basis. So my point is, last year I applied for India Bioscience third outreach grant. And like 1 week before the final result came out, I got a query from India Bioscience that do you hold a permanent position, or can you share your independent web page of your institute with us? So as such, in my institute, even the permanent faculties, they also don't have any independent web page. And I also sent but though on contract basis, I'm working here, but I'm heading my independent laboratory and I'm doing my research independently and mentoring students also. So I sent a photograph of my lab with my students. I thought that would suffice. But but my project couldn't make it to the list of final grants. But so could it be a factor that I don't hold a permanent position? So this time, should I apply? Like, is that the reason?
This is not, Pujarini, I also didn't hold a permanent position when I got IOG. So it's not permanent. Again, India Bioscience, we don't believe in age. We don't believe in this permanent temporary. Question is it an independent faculty position?
Okay.
Is it?
So if it is on contract basis also, it's okay. I can
yes,
apply.
Absolutely. I say Ramalinga Swami, Ramanujan, Inspire, everyone have received. Is it independent faculty? Like, we would not call a postdoc independent faculty.
No, my designation is scientist C here at ICMR.
Then yes, you are eligible to apply.
Okay, so probably there will be like other reasons for that.
Yes.
So because this was in my
Absolutely,
mind, so could it be a factor that I hold a contract-based position? So that is not the reason. So
Not
this
at
year
all.
also, then I can apply.
Please do. That's not the reason. Absolutely not.
Karishma, we
Okay.
have some questions in the chat box as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Karisma. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Pujarini. Yes, Manjula, Arjit also raised his hand, but he's typed it here. The grant mentions societal benefits of science communication. Conservation, ecology-based projects like magazines, yes, certainly. That is, I mean, its societal benefit means communication of science to the public. So yes, this works, conservation, ecology works. I'd also encourage people who are looking for ideas to even think of things like a science fair, a half-a-day science fair, a virtual science museum built on a website. You know, these are sort of ideas. Because it's one thing to build a project that you're doing every week or every month. But if you think that's too much, you can also think of a half-a-day, one-day event. Yes, all right. Okay, Shweta, while more questions filter in, thank you, Arijit. We have 7 minutes to clarify an important point about the 70-30 arrangement, Shweta. You want to clarify that?
Yes, Karishma.
Yeah, so 70% we transfer upfront. Then what happens?
So after once we transfer first installment out of 1 lakh 70%, so that is 70,000 to the institution. They should share the receipt for the same thing what we have shared the money. After that, they should send the UC and SOE. So
after utilizing the 70%.
Yes, everything. So it should be in a institution letterhead. So the expenditure should be clearly mentioned for what they have mentioned. So it should not be like expenditure 70,000 I have done, and they should not mention, like they should give a clear justification, and they should mention the UC for the period, for which period they have prepared the UC, and with a sealed and signature of the concerned person on the letterhead, and they should send the hard copy and as well as soft copy. So on that basis, we'll cross check, then we'll release this second installment.
Okay, second installment is the 30%.
30%
now,
or whatever the amount they have utilized.
Okay. Now that, if say you utilize all 30%, that can be spent from the PI's pocket or from the institute money.
Yes.
Correct? You can take a loan or something from the institute and do it. So for example, I don't know how Neha did it, but I paid from pocket and IOG reimbursed me.
I paid from my pocket, yeah.
As well. Okay. Some people have borrowed from the institute and put that back. Okay. So just to clarify that. So
yeah, we reimburse that 30% actually. Yeah.
It's on a reimbursable basis. And that's really just to make sure the project happens, you know. Like, yeah, you know, it moves. So Shweta, Arijit also asked what percent goes to PI and what percent goes to co-applicants.
So we don't have those type of...
we give all the money to the PI actually.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
And moreover, in the UC, for 70,000, when they are giving the UC, they should mention clearly that they are giving the UC for 1 lakh, not 70,000. 70,000 they have IOG IndiaBioscience has transferred. 30,000 they have used from their pocket or lesser than 30,000 or from the institution.
Okay. Okay. Get it.
So then only we'll release the money.
Right. Absolutely. We get that. So if 30,000 is released from the spent from pocket, then you write that and we will release that.
Yes, Karishma.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other things that we have learned over the years that can help make our applicants process easier?
Karishma,
yeah, I
don't know if...
Yeah. Go ahead, Suchi.
Karishma, there was a question by Jyoti in the chat box. I'm not sure if this was answered or not.
Okay.
So she asked if it will be open for all in the future, like irrespective of any age.
It is irrespective of age.
No, not like 8 years of experience as well, like irrespective of anything.
Okay. Grey-haired oldies. Well, Jyoti, we are also grey-haired oldies. I told you we just managed to cover it up. But so we are just trying to broaden it to 8 years. You know, we would like everyone to be able to apply. But we've just kept like 8 years as the broadest definition of young investigator.
We wanted to give this as a seed funding for the faculty who is just starting or trying to establish their own lab. So we wanted.
But yes, this is a good suggestion, Manjula.
Yeah,
we should
thank
keep
you.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, we can possibly open it up to our faculty as long as we are convinced that irrespective of career stage, the work will get done.
Yeah,
I mean, we also don't want mid-career senior faculty be too busy, and then make the work being done by PhD students and postdocs and all. This is scientist driven is what we want to emphasize.
That's right.
So that's the idea of keeping it YI. Yeah. Then a practical question, Manjula, Tanushi asked, do we need a letter of institute during application? Letter from institute?
Yes, I mean, this year I think
We have
we have
included
asked,
that.
yes, we have
Yeah.
included that, so
Yes.
that you are an independent faculty working from, less than 8 year from in that
Yes.
institute.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. This is only Tanushi, so the institute agrees to disburse the grant, to receive the
That's true.
money and do the expenditures.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Deepa says someone may be older but starting research. Yeah, under 8 years of starting independent research or independent faculty.
Yeah.
So no age. Age doesn't matter. Under 8 years of being an independent faculty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Any other questions we have, Manjula, Shweta, over years of doing this that we can share? Apply early.
Yeah, apply early. Please don't wait until the last date. So you can ask questions if you have for more clarification at iog@indiabioscience.org. I can just type it and put it here as well in the chat box. So yeah, so these are all the previous year's awardees that you can see on the screen, and you can be next. So, start
Yes.
preparing for your application and apply soon.
We made a very strong pitch. You can be next. Absolutely. So we really look forward. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, everyone, for your questions and participation.